the February 19th, 2026 minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
And I will second that motion.
Okay, do we have any other comments to make on the minutes?
No.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the board meeting minutes from February 19th, 2026, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 3 ayes. Okay, moving on to new business. Destruction list and repurposing of old poll book devices for sample ballots. So I think you're going to do that on that.
So I think you're both aware we got new e-poll books. They arrived maybe 2 weeks ago because the old ones were obsolete as of 12/31/2024. And so we just need to get the approval. I think you've got the list in your the list of inventories in there. And so they've got the poll books and the stands for those poll books. Pardon me? And the scanners that go along with them. One thing that was brought up when we were at the clerks conference is we're going to destroy them in terms of use for elections, but potentially utilize some of them instead of printing sample ballots, use the iPads, clear them out. We have to work with our IT and the vendor, but clear the iPads of all the old information. And then for each election, put the current ballot on. So when people want to see the sample ballot, instead of having to flip through the pages on the paper, they'll have a clickable form on the iPad so that they can see their ballot.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's something that you guys are interested in doing rather than printing those for every location.
Yeah, I feel like reusing those tablets would be a great idea and save on paper.
Okay. And then once we approve the destruction or reuse, however you want to say it, then we do also have to get it approved by the state. So this will then get submitted to the state. Okay.
So what you're proposing is taking some of the equipment, repurposing it, and the balance of it destroying it.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, go ahead, sorry.
Okay. Once the state approves it, do we have a process for destroying it? What would we, as far as that goes, we just don't throw them in the dumpster?
No, we'll work with our IT staff to make sure that they're disposed of properly.
Okay.
And once everything's cleared from them, they're basically just an iPad. So if there's another use for them that the state will allow us to do, then I think that makes sense rather than just having them recycled somewhere.
I think that's a great idea. That sounds good to me.
So will this come back before us? Do we have to sign off on the plan, or is that something that the clerk?
So I do have a sign-off sheet for us today, just as long as we're all in agreement. And then once we get the approval from the Indiana Election Division, then I'll make sure you guys have that information so you know that whether they've approved it or if they've got any concerns or questions.
Okay.
So just sort of sorry about that. I meant to turn it down. My apologies. So if I understand it correctly, what we're doing is we are going to decommission all this equipment, and we are going to go to the state and have them grant permission for us to dispose of it. And then whatever they allow us to recycle in an appropriate manner, we would purpose that other than just destroying it. But that which we can't, we'll destroy.
Yes.
According to state law. That sounds good to me.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on board with that.
Okay.
So do we need to vote on?
I think so.
I think so too. Okay, so.
Do we need a formal motion?
Yeah. Would you like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we accept this list of equipment for disposal according to state law, that which needs to be disposed of and destroyed to be destroyed or recycled in an appropriate state-approved manner, and that which can be repurposed according to state approval and state law will be repurposed.
Would you second it?
I'll second that motion.
All right, any other questions about that? All those in favor of approving the destruction and repurposing of equipment, say aye.
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 So we can sign that at the end of the meeting. Okay. Next on the agenda, discussion of proposed meeting schedule. So I emailed something that I've drafted based on other counties, and maybe we can just sit and go through, make sure. I don't know if anybody printed that out. I have, you need a copy?
Referring to this one.
You have a copy of it? No.
I can give you this copy. I've got a smaller copy here. Okay.
One thing to keep in mind on this meeting schedule, at some point, the commissioners, and they're going to be moving to the other building.
Okay.
And I don't know as of yet if the decision has been made, what's going to happen with this room.
Okay.
So, we'll just want to be mindful. I mean, obviously, as we are made aware of what's the purpose of this room, because I don't know, maybe it's still going to be a meeting room, maybe it's going to change into something. They talked about offices and different things, so we'll just have to keep that in mind as we move forward, and if we have to make some adjustments, we will.
Okay, so maybe we put TBA on the place,
Yeah, we can do that.
and then we can amend it later once we figure out where it's gonna be.
Yes.
So we can. Okay. So we're at the merch meeting here.
Hard to believe it's March already.
I know, I'm sure, I'm sure the time is ticking for you guys. It's a lot to do right now. So I guess the next item on there is the public test, and we'll talk about that later, but should we go ahead and put a date on there for that, or do you want to talk about that later in the meeting?
So we've been in communication with the vendor. The biggest thing that we're gonna be waiting on for the public test is our media sticks
Right.
for the equipment. As of now, it's March 27th is the anticipated delivery date. And then the week of, I don't have my phone,
30th through the 2nd.
March 30th through April 2nd, because the 3rd is Good Friday, so the office is closed. But that week, the vendor's going to be up, and we're going to pull out all the equipment and make sure that everything is up and running properly. So
Okay.
we're anticipating doing the public test Monday, the 6th, and first thing in the morning.
Okay.
Patty, where would that test be held?
Most likely, we're gonna hold it downstairs it's called the cage. It's got enough space because we have to test a specific number of machines that are gonna be used for the election, so
Okay.
it'll give us the space to put all those out, and then it's open and the public can come and check out what we're doing. And
All right, April 6th, and what time does this building open?
building opens at 8, so I would say we'd probably start at about 8:30.
8:30.
Yeah.
So then, next we have election day. I put 6 a.m. I think I've been here as early as, I think other people were here at 5. I was here
Yes.
at 5:30. So.
I thought you were gonna let us sleep in.
Oh, right, no. I mean, that's the minimum, but 5:30, I don't.
Mhm. No, I'm right there with you.
Okay.
Go sleep.
Yeah, I know, it's a long day, wear comfy clothes.
5:30.
Comfy clothes and comfy shoes.
Yeah, so 5:30.
Here.
I just, again, for the next one, for the certification of the election and provisional ballot review, I put 11 a.m., but it could be earlier. I don't have a preference. It could be 10 o'clock.
It's up to you folks. I'll make sure my day is cleared.
Okay.
The sooner we get started, the sooner we can be done.
That's kind of my thoughts. too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10?
Yeah, let's do 10.
I think we have until noon where ballots can be received, but it's also with the mail, like people have until noon. So we have to at least stay here till then, but
And you've been through this before, so you have an idea of like how long does that process take?
it depends on how, if a lot of people show up last minute with ballots or issues, then, it was kind of a nebulous meeting the last time. When we came here, we were working down in the cage, and actually nobody showed up with anything, but, you know, we were still processing. I think, no, they were done processing ballots at that point. They had to be.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think 10 a.m. is good. So plan on 10 to noon. And then the next few I just put in because we've never done a budget review as long as I've been on the board. It wasn't presented to the elections board, so I don't know if you're planning on doing that. I would appreciate it, but
I have no issue doing that. Absolutely.
so you probably have a better idea of when those budgets are due.
So it has to be, we have to submit them to the county, to the auditor's office, usually by right around July 1st, right around there. So probably want to make this sometime late June.
Late June.
Maybe.
Okay. So yeah, I'm open the entire last full week of June. Anytime.
I
That
want to
works
say
for
there
me.
was talk about a spring or a summer conference for the clerks, but we
Oh,
don't have
okay.
those dates yet. But we can at least set a tentative date, and if we have to move it, we've
Yep.
got plenty of time to do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So maybe sometime the week of maybe the 15th, and that way if we have to move it, we're not too close to when we have to submit it to the auditor's office. I don't know if any particular day of the week works better for you guys.
I'm open that whole week, so
Right now, that day's open for me.
Okay.
do you want to do the 15th?
Yes, we can do the 15th. We're gonna probably have to do it a little bit later in the day because the commissioners' meetings are Monday mornings, and if they're still in this room, then we will have to do it.
Right.
If we're gonna do it in this room, it'll have to be after that, so, and then we'll have to confirm with the commissioner's office that the room's available, but
Right.
what are you thinking? 1?
I'm having trouble hearing the discussion.
Talking about budget review, to do it June 15th. That's a Monday, and so it would have to be after commissioners. 1:00?
Yeah, that's fine.
1
1
o'clock.
o'clock work? And then if, for some reason, the room's not available, then we'll reach out and
We'll
let you guys know,
reschedule.
and we'll figure out another time or another day.
Okay, sounds good. So 1 p.m. on June 15th. Next is another meeting, very similar to this. It's a pre-election meeting to go over any issues and include presentation of ballot to the board. And again, September open. As long as we get in before early voting starts.
Well, do you want to have that earlier rather than later in the month?
I would
Probably,
appreciate that.
which
Yeah.
is- Yes. And we have Labor Day on the 7th, so we're gonna keep that in mind.
So yeah, anytime that week after that is fine with me.
And I know county council and the auditor's office does budget hearings. Usually there's a week in September, and it's either gonna be that Labor Day week or the following week, and so they will have the meeting room tied up the whole week, so.
Saying after Labor Day, that week.
It's either it depends on their timing. It's either gonna be that week or the following week,
So maybe we should go to the end of August, early September.
Before
We can do
Labor
that.
Day?
We can
Yeah,
do that
before Labor
first
Day.
week.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Any particular day of the week that's,
I have something on the 3rd, the Thursday,
okay,
Any of them are good for me.
but I can do afternoon on Thursday.
Thursday, September 3.
okay, let's do Thursday, September 3, say 1 o'clock.
What'd you
Does
say?
1 work?
1 o'clock.
Yes. Yes. September 3rd. Okay, again, public test. We can do that again the Monday before early voting starts. If you want, or earlier?
No, I think that'll be okay.
When does early voting start? Do we know?
Here.
I don't know if it's gonna be like the 6th or something.
October 6th.
October
That's
6th?
what I
Okay,
was thinking
thank
was
you.
gonna be then. So we're gonna look at October 5th.
Well, public test would have to be done, I think, a week prior. There's a deadline for public test,
So in,
because like this time, it's a week prior, not just the day prior.
They're not, well, the media is not gonna be here. They don't have media scheduled to be here until the 27th, so our public test is gonna be the day before early voting starts.
So is that the deadline? Okay, sorry, I'm soft.
Nope, you're fine, you're fine. Nope, your input is important.
so the public test for the electric equipment will be October 5.
Potentially, yes, I mean, unless you
Yeah.
wanna do it different. But we could set it for October 5 and do it at 8:30 again, just like we are this time.
Yeah, that works for me.
And then we're back to election day.
October 5th,
5:30.
5:30. Yeah, 5:30.
Be consistent.
Yeah,
That 8:30 is gonna seem like you'll really get to sleep in.
Yeah. and then 10 a.m. on the 13th.
Yep.
Okay, and then of course we can schedule meetings as needed when things arise.
And if we need to make any changes or once we know um, what meeting room is available, then we can do that.
Okay, great, thank you. So moving on to the CFA 4 annual reports, review and discussion. These are not in the packet, correct?
Correct. No, we brought, and that's part of the issue is we've been finding in stacks of paper, we're continuing to find them. Some of them have been filed, some of them have not been filed, some of them are in stacks of other paper. So as we've been finding them, we are kind of keeping them centrally located. We have reached out to our county attorney to kind of see because according to the manual, we do have some discretion, extenuating circumstances. And I think this is probably one of those years where it's a little crazy. Things have been a little hectic with Christopher resigning and all the things that have transpired. So we do have some discretion as a board, but it's finding out exactly what that discretion is. And so we've reached out to our county attorney to get his advice and kind of see where we can go from here.
Okay.
But it's definitely something that we want to be cognizant of and monitor because obviously it's an important piece and we need to make sure that they're being filed on time and that they're filed appropriately and accurately and
Right.
When you say you find some that have been filed and have not been filed, you're saying they're just stacked in the clerk's office? Is those may not have been filed? Is that
well,
what you mean?
if the clerk's office has received them, they've been filed by the candidate or the committee.
Okay.
It's just that they were not put in any particular place.
Okay.
The staff in the clerk's office at the new building, they weren't given any instruction. And Christopher was done as of 12/31. And as you know, Carol was in and out. None of them over there knew what to do with any of the paperwork. And so they were taking them and putting them. And in Carol's office, they were all over the place too. So,
Okay. So I've reached out to Indiana Election Division, Democratic Co-Counsel, and I asked about the timing on this. And so this is not something we need to address right now, and I would recommend that we put it off until after the election. There's a statute of limitations that goes for 2 years for fines, which is
okay.
what we're looking at here, and kind of going into the complaint that was filed last year because the board hasn't formally taken that on.
Mhm.
That statute of limitations hasn't started for that one either. So I would recommend putting that off until after the election where we can do a thorough review of what we have, do any kind of fact finding for this complaint, because I think there was stuff not included in the emails that there were attachments, and I just want to have a better hold on that. And then, of course, reach out and talk to legal counsel in terms of moving forward with this.
I guess my question on that is, when does that statute of limitations begin? Once we
Once we formally,
open an investigation, so to speak?
yeah,
Okay.
so this formal complaint, the statute of limitations is considered tolled, is what the term the attorney used, so it doesn't actually start until we take that on. So I'm
Okay.
not suggesting we do that today. I'm suggesting
Okay.
we do that
We hold off
after the election.
Interesting.
when we have
So
more.
yeah, right?
Interesting that would be told.
Yeah,
It's just like, what's the point of the statute of limitations if it's told until you actually take a look at it?
right. I mean, that's what he said, and I would
In all fairness, to the person that complained, they complained almost a year ago
right,
and nothing happened.
right.
And the same on the person that the complaint was about. It's not fair to them either
Right.
that they haven't had an opportunity to respond.
No, absolutely, and that's my concern. I want to make sure that the procedure is clearly defined and that everyone's given a fair shake in how we proceed with this.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
But I also definitely agree that we do need to address it. We need to at least look at all of the information and just verify so that we are all comfortable one way or another.
Right, so after we talk to the attorney, so sometime after the certification of the election, possibly at the budget review meeting.
Maybe that might be a good
Yeah.
time.
I think we need some breathing room here. Okay. And then that gives your staff time to organize and, be able to present what we have.
And we're gonna kind of work on a process. So as they're coming in, we're tracking, the candidates and the committees as they're submitting them. We've got maybe a spreadsheet that we can put the dates in that they've submitted and because we have some that have submitted multiple because they're a candidate. They're in office, but they're also a candidate. And so they've got to have one for their current candidacy and one for the current office that they serve in. So there's multiple. So we're gonna come up with a system so that we can track all of that. So it'll make it easier. So we have something at least
Okay,
a little more organized to present.
okay, that sounds great. So we'll put that on the June meeting. I think once we get up and running, we have a periodic review, 3 times a year because they're supposed to submit the CFA4 annual report, the pre-primary report, and then the pre-election report.
Mhm.
And once we get there,
Yes.
we'll have a consistent review of those. That was not something that was
Seems so
done.
overwhelming.
Right, I know, and I appreciate, I feel like I've been pushing, but I just want to make sure that everything is covered. But
Yes.
I definitely want to give time to this that's needed.
Absolutely.
And this is not the right time for everybody to be looking into this, so, okay, all right. Thank you. Are there any other comments, questions about this process?
If it's not sharing confidential information, I'd be interested in seeing what you received from your counsel.
Yes, I
Okay.
will share that with you.
Thank you.
Yes. And who is the county attorney right now?
I'm Nat Jordan.
Oh, okay.
He is ours. Yes.
Okay, that's who it was last time, so, yeah, excellent. Okay, just writing that down. Okay, if nothing else, moving on to vote centers and a resolution to amend the vote center plan. So what do we have in terms of updates on that?
So as of right now, we have
We need to make a
13 that
motion
are
to table
confirmed, correct?
Oh, do we want to make a motion to table the? Sorry, he asked, and I think that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, so, would you like to make?
Now I'll make a motion to table the issues regarding the CFA 4s and the complaint from Mr. Moreno until after the elections, probably closer to mid-June, July, at that meeting perhaps. So that'll give us time to fully.
Mhm.
And I'll second that
Okay.
motion.
Any other discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
You too?
Yeah, aye.
Thank
Moving on, thank you. All right, now we're moving on to vote centers and
So-
the resolution, so.
For vote centers, as of today, we have 13 that have confirmed. Amy's been working to make contact with them, but we have several that have not reached back out. We did have one vote center that was specific and we are not welcome back because the treatment of their property was not appropriate. There were some things that were broken and damaged. And so,
Okay.
and it wasn't by the people working the polling place, it was by the public coming in to vote. And so they've said we can't return. I know we are required to have 11, so we have 13, and obviously we'd like to have more, but it's been tough to get confirmation from, and I don't know if you want to come up to the mic and speak at all. Yes. And when you come up to the mic, I know we all know who you are, but if you'll just say your name and what you do, that way it's.
So I'm Amy with voter registration. I also do the vote center outreach. So I make sure that I keep in touch with all of our vote centers, communicate when we're going to be delivering things, when we need to have people there, the facilities open, that kind of thing. We do have the 13 confirmed. One note, our health department has a lot of construction happening near it, but it is one of our early vote centers. So we recommend keeping that one. We're just going to want to make sure that the public knows how to get there before the primary, because I was just there yesterday and it's not a pretty sight getting into that location. We do have one facility that we are requested not back to, which is Middlebury. I do recommend we find another location there in Middlebury because that was our only location for Middlebury. I have been in touch with the American Legion, which is on 13 on the north side of Middlebury. They're very willing and open. I have checked out the facility. It is ADA compliant and has the required things that we need, such as the required electricity and storage, et cetera. Because we do have to have an area for all of our supplies to be locked up prior to us being there. The other concern that we have is there is one church that was sold, River of Life Church, which, if you're familiar with Elkhart, it's near Kroger's. It's right across the street from Kroger's. That church building did sell. I have been in touch once, a little over a year ago, with the new owners. They said that they would be open to it. However, we do have two other facilities fairly close, Tolson Center and AMBS. So that is one that we could easily disband for at least this election, and give us time to research whether or not that is necessary. We do have a couple of other sites that are not very good, like FOP is one that we have concerns for our people's safety when we're at that location. There's been leaks, there has been electricity not working and that kind of thing. So that is another one that we have concern with.
And we've confirmed that 13 are.
There is 13 locations that have responded back that they are very willing. I'm sure there's others that are, they just are not very responsive.
Okay.
They didn't send back that they wouldn't either.
Okay.
So that's
Okay. All right. So, I mean, I guess the reason this is on here, because generally we send out a card beforehand. And the reason I wanted to bump this meeting up is so that we have time to print that card. It sounds like we haven't necessarily gotten to the point where, I mean, we can't put it on the card unless they've confirmed, correct?
Right.
we shouldn't.
Right.
And I could easily make phone calls to the ones that have not confirmed and get a verbal.
Okay.
If you would like me to do that, I can do that.
Yeah, I think that would
I
be
can do
helpful.
that.
So regarding how many vote centers a county has is determined by the active voters. So you have one vote center for every 10,000 active voters. I think the voting populace here is around 126,000.
We have 127 registered.
Are they?
Not all of those are active.
So do we have that exact number? How many are active?
I
you look it
had
up?
it. I don't have it with me currently because I'm not connected to I can't get to the system to pull up that number. I should have that. And I apologize, I don't.
Okay, so I mean, based on that, the minimum is 13, because if it's, the law says if it's a partial number of 10,000, then you just round up and have an extra one.
That makes sense.
So, I mean, so we have 13 that are a go. It dramatically reduces how many we have, and I don't think that's a good idea, but I'm not sure how we proceed going forward regarding if we don't have confirmation, like, we can't send out the cards until we have confirmation, and the cards need to be sent out before the election. So,
How soon before the election do we want to do that?
I mean, I would like them to go out.
Yesterday?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So how do we proceed
Um,
with that?
So when do you think you can get confirmation?
I can make calls this afternoon, and assuming the places are open, should be able to get the majority of them either today or tomorrow, I would imagine.
Okay. So then if you're okay with it, if Amy can get them, we can send you a list via email. And if we can, work back and forth through email to get confirmation.
Yeah, I think we're probably gonna have to call another meeting to confirm the plan so that we have public input. I think that's an important part of it, since the original plan process is to provide at least 30 days public input. But yeah, we're gonna have to call another meeting in order to pass a resolution. I mean, we can talk about it in email to present to the public, but I think that's what we're gonna have to do.
Because I don't think 13 is enough.
No,
mean,
I don't
we're
think so
big enough
either.
County that
What do we
spreads them
gen-
out.
What do we generally have?
I think last year we had
29.
29,
Yeah.
That's
or
quite
2
a
years ago. I mean, that's a big
reduction.
difference.
Yeah, no, and I don't feel comfortable going forward. I mean, if it were 1 or 2, that's fine, but, you know, over half of them, that's not okay. So we're gonna have to meet again, before the cards are sent out. Are the cards required? I mean, I think they're a very good idea.
Oh, I think they're a good idea too. I'll check.
I mean, it's not the end of the world if they go out late, but yeah.
But they need to go out.
Yeah.
They need to be aware.
Yeah, so, I mean, next week, you're gone.
I'm going
You're
next
gone
week.
next week. Okay. All right. Do you have a proxy?
No, but you could have a quorum with both of you.
Well, that's true. That's
Because
true.
this is not, I would basically, you come up with a list that you two are happy with it. I don't see that you'll need me here to do that.
And I think we can email
Yeah, you
that
can
information
email
to
me.
you, so you
Or I
at
can
least.
join you. Can I join you by telephone?
I don't know. There used to be.
No, because you know what? I think there was a law change, and I think that if you're gonna do it, you have to be on camera.
Yes, so it'd be
Oh.
like a Zoom call.
You know, Zoom call.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to be on camera so that people can see that you are who so you don't have
Right.
somebody
Okay.
up there voting in your place. But we will reach out and give you all that information, so at least you're aware of
Right.
what we're doing and
I,
discuss
I,
it via email.
this is more of a procedural thing where you're simply approving the list. And if you're both satisfied, if you want to hold a quorum and I'm not there,
Okay.
I have no issues with that.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm comfortable with that.
That works.
Would you all be okay with the American Legion location for Middlebury? Do you have any concerns with that?
Where is that in proximity to the one that we had?
The one we had was on the west side of town. This is gonna be on the north side of town. The one nice thing, in my opinion, is that it is on a major road,
Okay.
whereas Middlebury Church was off on a side road, caused some confusion on where to get to it sometimes, not by Middlebury people, but some
Sure.
that would go there from outside. And they do have plenty of parking. So, and they are open to also being an early voting site on the Saturdays, because Middlebury was always one of our early voting sites.
Okay.
Right.
So, but I have not officially said to them that we're going to use them until I have your approval.
Okay.
Amy, a question. One of the things that the former clerk would always say is we don't pay for any of these sites. People donate their buildings, which is wonderful because it could be expensive. Does American Legion one of those that would donate the site?
Yes, they have said that they would be open to us using their facility free of cost.
That's wonderful.
Okay, so I think we're gonna hold tight on this until we get more information from you to confirm the rest of the centers, and then we'll meet next week as needed so we can.
Do we want to go ahead and approve the American Legion today so that she can confirm with them?
So I can get it on their official calendar.
Right, I mean, that's changing the plan. I think we can go ahead, but I don't know that we need to. I don't know, this is where a lawyer would be.
Well, As far as the final list, you're basically going and asking people, will you be letting to do us? And
Yeah.
basically she's asking, we have to give her permission to ask them if they're willing to do it. That's all we're doing. And
Okay.
then they'll say yes. So
Okay.
actually it could be considered a part of it. The approval that it'll be included on the list because it's approved. So I don't see an issue.
Okay, so you
saying
think we should approve this one today?
We should approve her asking them.
Oh,
That's
okay.
all that we're
All
doing.
right, all right. Thank you.
Getting it on the
We're just
calendar at
approving-
least.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
just
you.
approving, getting it on their
Confirming
calendar,
with-
basically, so
Okay.
that to hold it.
Okay.
kind of thing.
So do we?
For election day as well as the
The
last
two-
two Saturdays for
yes.
early voting?
All right.
Yeah.
So do we need to vote on that?
I think so.
Make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Please do.
There's not too many of us here. I make a motion that we authorize Amy to approach the American Legion in Middlebury about including us, they're using their facilities for the 2 early voting Saturdays and the election day, primary day, and also the fall.
Okay.
That we approve her, we authorize her to do this.
Okay,
And I'll second that motion.
okay. All those in favor of approving the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 3 ayes. Okay, thank you, Amy.
That's
Okay, next on the agenda, discussion of the primary ballot. That's not in our packet, is it?
It was, what, 490
No, it's
some,
497.
497 pages.
Oh, okay. Can you send that via email? No?
Mm, I mean,
I mean, it's like a,
will it not go encrypted outside? I can.
That's up to you.
So scary to send it outside, but, I can try and send
I
it.
mean, just the
don't know.
list of who's on the ballot. I mean, not the actual. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I
Yep, I can send you.
kind of want to see the whole list. Okay.
So you're asking that we have an opportunity to review the ballot. Is that what you're
We don't
asking?
need to review it. I just wanted to have that included in the meeting just for informational purposes because the party chairs, the ones that approve it.
Right.
And how is that sent to them?
They aren't, to my knowledge, they are not.
Okay, so do they come in and look at
They've
it?
not been involved in that process.
Okay.
No. It's a candidate list.
Yeah.
And I know there's a couple of things that Chad had reached out, things that he had seen as the list was getting
Okay.
updated, and we made those adjustments. So
Okay.
they've been included in that part of it to know who's on the list, and if there's a discrepancy that they see, maybe they're in under a wrong race, or they're in under a wrong precinct, or that kind of a thing. So they have been getting those lists and noting any discrepancies that they see.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so they have been
They've
active.
been involved in that
Okay,
part of the
all right.
process, not actually in the software system.
Right, yeah, no, that's,
Yep.
I just, because I know that since the candidate list was put out, some people have withdrawn.
We've had a couple withdraw.
And so I would just like an updated candidate list, I guess is
Sure.
what I'm asking for.
We will get that to you.
Okay. Any other questions on that? All right, moving on to early voting dates, costs, and early vote center locations.
Here. So we're looking at start date of April 7th
April 7th?
is the Tuesday. Um, And then it will end Monday, May 4th at noon. And then we've got Lincoln Center and then the church here in Goshen.
Okay.
For all days for early voting. And then Amy, for the 2 Saturdays, we'll have the American Legion in Middlebury. And then what was the other one
It's
for?
the First Brethren. Yeah.
Napanee, okay, that's what I was thinking.
And those are the ones we used last time. Okay,
Except the American Legion will be new this year.
So
okay.
that was the Goshen Church Learning Center, and what was the third one?
Napanee Church of the Brethren.
Thank you.
So regarding preparations for early voting, there are a couple things that I'd like to share that happened. I was looking at the last board meeting we had, which is in February 29th. I mean, normal board meeting, not outside of election, and public test. And we did have a list provided by the clerk to the Democratic Republican members of the board of people who were able to initial the ballots, because they have to be initialed by a D and an R,
Mhm.
and they were done ahead of time so that people would not have to, that's just the ballots. So, and that we gave permission for somebody who's been designated as a RRD in that office to go ahead. I mean, those can also be done by the poll workers.
Is that, I'm a little concerned with those being initialed ahead of time.
We've always, every election I've been in quite over 20 years, quite a few, the ballots were always initialed on the day of the election by the two clerks, and it had to be done in a specific order, and it had to be done for the right color, or the ballot wasn't any good. And so I would probably leave it like that. We always had time to do it.
I'm more comfortable with it being done.
That's fine. That's just how it was presented to me. I didn't know if that was something that you wanted to go forward with. Yeah, I agree. The other thing regarding early voting is that there have been some clarifications in the law, again, regarding signing the envelope, which is essentially an affidavit for the ballot. And it's been emphasized in the latest edition of the Election Administrator's Handbook that, and this is something that we did in the past, not correct procedure, is to sign those ballots by a D and by the ballot envelopes by a D and an R beforehand. That is not correct procedure. What we were supposed to do is that the voter is to present that envelope to two people, a D and an R. They sign it in front of those D and an R, and then the D and the R sign that. And what we had done in the past was sign that ahead of time. That's not the proper procedure.
Mm.
So I think we're going to run into trouble if we don't have enough staffing for early voting. I think we need 2 dedicated people. I mean, they can rotate through, but we need 2 dedicated people at a table who are, assigning that affidavit for the voters after the ballot is put in the envelope. So I don't know if that's been considered in terms of hiring, absentee voter board staff, because that's essentially what that's called. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I think there's going to be a need for additional poll workers in early voting time to be compliant with the law. This has been clarified as of this last session. And that goes along with the signing of the ballots too. I mean, those people, the clerk signed them, but,
Right.
so I want to make sure that that procedure is followed
Okay.
starting
Absolutely.
this election. Okay. So let's see, here's my agenda. Okay,
Every state back what I heard you say to make sure I understood it.
yeah.
And I should just leave that.
Yeah.
In the past, during early voting on the envelope, the Democrats and Republican clerks would, or whatever it was, authorized individual would sign them at a time.
Mhm.
According to state law and proper procedures, this is not the way to do
That
it.
is not the
They
way
need
to
to
do
be
it.
signed simultaneously at the time that the voter hands it to them. They sign it, and then the voter signs it.
The voter has to sign it in front of those 2 people.
Right. Okay.
But before we were having them sign it as they received it, to make sure they sign it, because if they don't sign it, it doesn't count.
Well,
So-
procedurally, yes.
And I think, this isn't gonna happen every year, but not only do we need more staff for that, but when I worked early voting one day at the Presbyterian Church, because somebody called out sick, there were only 3 other people there. So there's nobody managing the lines. I think that job used to be called sheriff. People kind of.
Yes, sheriff.
We did not have enough people for early voting to manage it properly, in my opinion. And people waited 2 to 3 hours.
I guess my question regarding the wait, because my wife has often worked early voting
Mm-hmm.
and the lines are long. Is it a matter of enough equipment there? or staffing? I mean, that's would be, it's a rhetorical question.
I think there's
other than
plenty of, I mean, I
fantasy
think
anecdotal.
there's plenty of express votes where the voter actually goes into. I think there were 10, and I think there were 5, mm, 4 or 5 poll books for people to. I can't. One of them didn't work, so that was problematic. Because even if you had people, one of the poll books, like the printer, wasn't working, so there were technical difficulties. Um, so I think, I, I mean, more clerks, yeah, maybe. I mean, and functioning equipment. You know, if you have 4 poll books and printers, they need to all be working.
That is one nice thing with the vendor coming that week before the early voting starts. They are literally, she's bringing what, 3 people? She's bringing 3 people with her, and then we'll have staff there so that every piece of equipment, every printer, everything is touched at least once. So that we're making sure that everything is in proper working order beforehand.
Essentially a test, like.
It's a mock election.
Runs through
Every possible ballot.
Okay.
So and we will have people from the vendor on site at least election day. Now, obviously, that's not gonna help us for early voting.
Right.
But we will have them for election day. And do you know, and maybe one of the voter registration gals will have to answer, but how many people typically work at these early voting places? Is it? Because I know when they used to have it here, there would just be 2 of them.
Yeah. And you know, for a primary, I think you can get away with, fewer. Although, I mean, we have contested primaries on the
Right.
Democratic ticket this time, for the first time in a long time. I think that's going to bring out more people than a typical, um, you know, um, midterm election. It's very concerning for, you know, early voting for the general election. John here, who has worked early voting, he's given me some recommendations in terms of how many workers would help early voting be more efficient. And I should have shared this with you before, but he put down teams, full book entry, ballot issuing, 2 teams of 4 workers, and signature staff, 1 team of 2 workers. So that's 6. And we've only been operating with like 3 or 4, I think.
So I know it's been minimal.
Yeah. So that would be for maybe a primary situation. For general election, I think he's got 6, 8, 10, 12.
And I believe at the general, we do have more
Yeah, I think.
typically.
But that one I worked was the general, and there were only 3 of us
Is there-
until I showed up.
When I worked at the church for the general, there was 6 and a supervisor.
For early voting?
No, this was on election day.
Yeah, so the early voting requires more because of this envelope issue.
Sure.
So, I mean, we can talk about the general later, but I just want to make sure we have enough staff for the primary. And I think the 2 signature people that are able to rotate out would be helpful. So, recommendation of 6. I don't know how I know that the party chairs don't have to submit until next week, I think.
Yeah, and I know they've both been working. I know Chad had reached out, earlier this week, maybe.
Okay.
Um,
That would be my recommendation, to make sure that we have more than we have had in the past. Because, I mean, I think people have accepted that there might be a wait, but I mean, 2 and 3 hours, that's a big chunk out of your day, especially if, you're trying to do it at lunch.
People
And
trying to do it on a lunch hour.
Yeah,
It's really
so-
difficult.
yeah, to minimize that as much as we can, I think would be ideal.
Patty, do you have any idea how many poll workers we had for early voting in 2022?
We were trying to do a little bit of research, and unfortunately, the way that the poll workers have been paid these last several years, it's all over the board. There's no easy way to track what the expenses were for that. And so that's what we talked about that earlier this week, about making sure that we are tracking so that we know what the cost is, because it's a significant cost to the county.
Right.
I guess I would be looking at this, how long is an average person there? How many people have voted in the past? How long does it, what is the process time? To give us an idea of, we don't want to understaff, but we don't want to overstaff either.
Right.
Right.
20-minute wait's reasonable. A 3-hour wait's not reasonable.
And unfortunately, it's hard to know when those busy times are gonna be, because,
Right.
one day you might be busy at 10 in the morning,
Mhm.
and the next day you might not be busy until 2 in the afternoon.
Yep.
It's really a
Yeah.
tough way to balance it out.
Yeah. And the signature thing is really, um, I think that just adds complexity and time to it.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, um,
We can make that recommendation to the party chairs,
yeah.
because then they'll both need, if we're looking at 6, they'll both need to have 3 people available for all of that time for early election,
Right.
or early voting.
Do we know what the compensation is?
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to look at it. It's not much.
Yeah.
I wanna say it's like 100 it's a stipend, so it's not an hourly rate, and I wanna say it, and we're open from 8 to 5 on Mondays and 8 to 4 Tuesday through Friday. And I wanna say it's like $110. I think Monday's a little more because you got that extra hour, but it's not much, and that's part of the
$110 a
problem.
day.
Yes.
Okay.
And part of the issue we're gonna run into this year is because the last couple of years, getting poll workers paid, whether it be early election or election day, has been an issue.
Yeah.
Now, it won't be an issue going forward.
Right.
It has been an issue, and I don't know about you guys, but I know if I didn't get paid the last time, I'm gonna be a little skeptical.
No, I agree, and that's why I was trying to figure out what was going on, and I didn't have all the information, but no, I agree, that's a deterrent. And at some point, I would like to do a review. I don't know the last time the pay schedule has been reviewed for poll workers, but I would be open to looking at that and having a discussion
And I
about it.
would too. I'm just not sure the county council is going to be willing to adjust that.
Right, yeah,
Because it's been said by numerous people, and I don't disagree, but it's kind of a civic duty to do that. But it is, when you're working election day, that's a long day.
it is a very long
There's
day.
a polling place between 5 and 5:30, and you don't know when you're gonna get out of there.
Yeah,
And so if you're paid $150, and that's including the 2 hours of poll worker training you have to do, it's not much for a long day.
I
Yeah.
figured out one time it's about $8 an hour. That's what you're getting. Trailer factories pay like 25.
Right.
So,
It's above minimum wage.
yeah.
yeah,
But could we do this? Could we tell the chairman, this is the pay scale? And, that way they can give clarity to people, because I think you hit on something that is true. I think people have worked early voting and never gotten paid.
Well, and I know there is one gal that it was not made clear to her that it was not an hourly rate. And so she worked over 40 hours in the week, and she got paid the stipend, and she came back and she went to the commissioners with it too, because she thought she was owed a significant amount of additional money, and it just wasn't made clear to her. So I think that's one thing that the party chairs can make clear.
hmm
We, as the people that are doing the training, will need to make that clear too.
I agree.
Because I think if you sign up and going in that, hey, if I work the entire week, I'm getting X amount of dollars, then you know that going in. But if you think you're getting $12 an hour and
right,
you end up getting $8 an hour, it's a little frustrating.
Amen.
right, I agree, I agree. I think information could be shared that would help clarify that. So,
And I do have, I got from Human Resources Department, some of the people that they sent a list of people that are currently listed as employees under the election board that worked early voting, or they might have worked set up and tear down. So we do have some people, some names, and I can share those with the party chairs, and I can share the list with both of you too, just so you have those names. Because it might be at least a starting point if the party chairs don't have enough
right,
staff. These people are already set up on our payroll system to be able to fill them in if we're short in an area. And there's quite a few. I mean, the list is a pretty decent list.
All right. Thank you. Are there any other questions about early voting? And I guess I had a question about poll worker training. I would actually like to go through that again. I did that in 2024, but I've noticed that there's been some changes on the website, so I appreciate that. I think that's great. Can you talk a little bit about, where we're at, when that's going to start for training? Do you know?
We are working on that, so we have to redo the manual because
Right.
obviously the new, and I think it's a good thing for both of you to go through, and if you want to go down with the gals and look at the new e-poll books, just to kind of see, I mean, I think they're pretty sharp. I think we've tested them, a couple of different days last week. And all three of the voter registration gals were down there and helping out, getting them set up and testing them. And right now they've got like a demo election on there just so we can kind of play around with them. And you're not gonna have the cord, so you're not twisting and turning, you're just flipping your screen back and forth. So we have to incorporate, they sent us the manual for that, so we're gonna incorporate some of those changes. I'm gonna ask, because you've done this before, I don't know how many sessions we need of poll worker training.
That's a good question. I don't know how many they had last time. I mean, it's quite a few, and and then they were after work hours, so like 5, 6 o'clock. And I know that there were some during the day because there are quite a few retired people who,
Sure.
but I don't know the exact number.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
actually just accumulated that and sent that to you not too long ago. We had.
Can you come up to the mic?
Sorry.
Sorry, I need everybody to hear you.
Well, we in the room might be able to hear too, but. the
Yeah,
people
Sorry. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
I actually just put together those numbers because I was sending them off to Patty. I just sent those to you not too long ago.
Okay.
We had 7 each for the facilitators and the clerks, and then 3 sessions for the supervisors. They would happen at a variety of days and times. They were at 9 a.m., 2 p.m., and 6 p.m. historically. Those are always open to change. I do know for the clerks and the supervisors, we would get complaints a lot that there was not enough evening times available. Because the clerks and the supervisors, I believe the reason is that we have more people who work regular jobs and need the later times for those positions. But, so there was a total, it would be 14, 15, 16, 17, 17, and that is not counting early voting. Early voting was just usually a single one done very laid back in the clerk's office,
Okay.
historically.
Okay.
Okay. So, so the early voting one has to occur within the next couple weeks,
Mhm.
and that's probably after the deadline that the chairs have to file for who should be on absentee board.
Mhm.
Okay, so that'll be the week after that. And so then the other ones for election day will be in April sometime, like spread over a 2-week period.
Usually it's over about a 2 to 3 week period after early voting begins.
Okay. All right. Thank
Okay.
you. That's
Yep.
very helpful.
Get those scheduled.
Okay. And I'm glad to hear that you are redoing the binders and the presentation, that those didn't match the last time I did it. So that's why I want to do it again. So I appreciate that.
And I heard that same complaint from someone who did do it in this last election. that
Yeah.
It was kind of all over the place.
Yeah, it was. And I know that we do have some issues during election day. And I think a lot of those can be solved by, poll worker training, just because we get a lot of calls on election day. And I think, the better we're able to train the poll workers, the smoother it will go. I mean, there's always going to be something, but
Right.
yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate all the work on that. Okay. So any other things on early voting? Okay. Public test discussion. So we've already decided that, and it's in here, Monday, April 6th at 8:30.
Yes.
Does anyone have anything to add to that?
Excuse me?
Do you have anything to add to that or any questions? Okay, so we're down on that. Okay, so we'll move on to privilege of the floor. Has anyone signed?
Nobody signed up.
Nobody signed up. Okay. All right, so with that, if there's nothing else, we are adjourned at 1 p.m.
Make a motion.
Oh, yeah, make a motion.
I'm good at making motions.
You are. I
make
think
a-
that's your job now.
That's my calling. I make a motion, we adjourn this meeting.
And I will second that motion.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.